Okay, so let's chazer again from the beginning of the third Perek. Misha meis mutal afanav. Someone who one of the meisim that they're obligated to deal with is in front of him. Is pater mi Krias Shema and Tefillah min Tefillah. They're pater from the mitzvos of Krias Shema, Tefillah, and other mitzvos. Noisei amita, the people that are carrying the coffin, v'chilufeim, and the people that are going to replace them, v'chilufei, and the people that replace the people that replace them. Esh lefnei amita, v'esh la'achar amita. Whether they're in front of the coffin or behind the coffin, whether they haven't yet carried or they have carried, either way, esh lamita tzarach b'hem, those that the mita that needs them are patur and are exempt from Krias Shema. V'esh she'en lamita tzarach b'hem, if the mita does not need them, then they are chayav and then they're obligated in Krias Shema. And either way, elu v'elu patur min tefillah, they're both patur from tefillah, again, which is d'Rabbanan and requires more concentration. Mishnah Beis, Kivru es habeis, they buried the meis, v'chazru, and they're coming back now from the cemetery. So then again, im yochel lahaschov ligmor, if they can start and finish either the first Perek or the first parsha, even of Krias Shema, ad shelo yigu l'shura, before they get to the shiur where they would form the rows and come for the oval, yaschil, they should start. V'imlav, and if they don't have enough time for that, lo yaschil, they shouldn't start till afterwards. The people standing once they're standing in the rows, the inner row are paturim, the outer rows are all going to be chayavim because they can read Krias Shema without anybody really noticing. Fine. Mishnah Gimel. Nashim vavadim uktanim patur Krias Shema. Women, slaves, and children are patur from Krias Shema, huminat tefillin, and from tefillin. V'chayavim b'tefillah, however, they're chayiv in Tefillah u'b'mezuzah u'b'brachos hamazon. So the Gemara goes through this Mishnah and explains really why this Mishnah would seem to be a pretty straightforward klal of women. Women are pater from mitzvos shazman grama, right? Shema is b'shach b'chol v'kumecha is man grama. Tefillin is not on Shabbos and at night. It's man grama. Tefillah pashas is not zman grama. Brachos hamazon is pashas not zman grama. Mezuzah is pashas not zman grama. So what's the chiddush of the Mishnah? So the Gemara goes through. The Gemara says Krias Shema is a chiddush. You think since it's Kabbalah Sal Malchus Shemayim, even though it's man grama, maybe we'd be mechayiv women. Kamash more not. They also bring down that ketanim are pater from Krias Shema. There isn't even a chiyuv d'Rabbanan of chinuch on Krias Shema because since ketanim are usually not around in shul in the morning or up late at night for Krias Shema. They didn't institute chinuch for it. Tefillin is a chiddush that even though it's a mitzvah shazman grama, there's a hekesh between tefillin and mezuzah, and we would have thought that since mezuzah is not zman grama, tefillin wouldn't be zman grama. Tefillah, the Gemara says, is rachami, which implies that it's even though it is zman grama midrabanan, so it's mitzvah drabanan that is bound by time. You would think women would be pater. But since there's a need for everyone to daven, they made it. They were mechayiv women. Mezuzah, the Gemara says, is a hekesh to Talmud Torah. So you think since women are pater from Talmud Torah, they'd be pater from mezuzah. And brachos hamazon, the Gemara says you'd have a havamina is a mitzvah shazman grama, because the pasuk says b'sis lach mechalechel be'ervel baiker. So there's an implication that eating has set times of morning and evening. So benching would follow those times. So the Mishnah is telling you that brachos hamazon is not considered mitzvah shazman grama, and women are chayiv. Baal Keri mahar b'libay, someone who has a seminal emission, he can only think the Krias Shema because we have a takanas Ezra really that just like by Krias Shema by Matan Torah, there was a requirement of al tigshu al isha. They had to be pirish, they had to be separated from women. So Ezra was misakin in general in order to increase precious that there is a need for tefillah for a Baal Keri in order to read Krias Shema or learn Divrei Torah.
I heard that was never accepted, never took hold.
It clearly took hold.
Unless it was for dom.
But for the we were at Perek Gimel Mishnah Daled. So there's the
Mishnah 4.
Mishnah 4.
Gimel Daled.
Just start it and we'll just backtrack a second.
Okay.
Baal Keri mahar belibai. So we find a concept by Matan Torah that there was a 3 days of separation from Matan Torah that there was a need for a certain level of of precious of separation in order to be makabel Torah, and then Ezra later in the end of the times of the Nevi'im, he extended that idea that anyone who has a seminal mission, any Baal Keri has to go to the mikveh before they can learn Torah or daven. That right, like you were pointing out, that takana already in the times of the Gemara seems to have been weakened and possibly completely removed. In the Rishonim, there's discussion. Nowadays, it's clear in the poskim that we don't deal with such a takana anymore. Men don't go to the mikveh regularly, except in Hasidic circles where they seem to go daily and nothing to do with anything else.
Yeah.
Fine. So Baal Keri, he's not supposed to learn Torah. So what happens when he comes to or say brachos? So what do you do? So the Mishnah says mahar beliba. If it's time for Krias Shema, he should think the Krias Shema when the tzibur is saying it, but he shouldn't say it. There's a machlekes in the Gemara. Is it that hearer counts and it's like you spoke it out, so you will be yotze your Krias Shema by thinking it. So then why don't you just say it? Because since by Matan Torah the Torah they were doing was actually said, so the framework of the takanas only speech was involved in the Isser of Baal Keri saying the words of Torah. So you think it, or it could be that hearers lav kadibur, that thinking through Krias Shema would not count as saying it. So then what's the point of thinking it? So then it's just, since everybody else is being makabel malchus shemayim, you shouldn't just be sitting there and doing nothing. So at least think the words. But if einu mevarach le'lefanav le'lacharev, he's not going to make a bracha before or after Krias Shema, because those are just completely derabanan, and so for that they didn't give him any leniency even to think through the brachos. V'ala mazain, if he's eating, mevarach la'acharav, he'll make a bracha afterwards. He'll bench. Ve'enu mevarach lefanav, but he won't make a bracha before, again because benching is a deraisa, and the bracha before is not a deraisa. And Rabbi Yehuda says no. Mevarach lefanav.
I'm sorry, I don't know where we're at.
We're still in Mishnah Daled.
Daled. And chapter
3.
No wonder I'm in the wrong chapter. Sorry.
No problem. So then, right. So Baal Keri mahara. Baal Keri will think the Krias Shema. Beliba ivenu mevarach le'lefanav le'lachar. He won't say a bracha before or after. V'alamazon, when he eats, mevarach le'acharav, he will make a bracha after he eats. He'll bench because that bracha is deraisa. V'enu mevarach lefanav, but the bracha before is not deraisa, so that he will not say. And then there's a discussion, unclear how to read it exactly in the Gemara. So what happened with Krias Shema? Is this mevarich? Meaning again, the same problem. If mahar, you fulfilled your obligation of Krias Shema, so then the Mishnah reads very nicely that you did Krias Shema in an acceptable way, and the benefit of being mahar over speaking obviously would be that it's now you didn't speak words of Torah, which would be like Har Sinai, and benching. It's not clear again whether you're being mahar over here or you're just actually speaking it out. And then if you say that hearer does not fulfill your obligation, then you have to explain why exactly. Then you'll have to explain that Krias Shema is really only derabanan, and that which the pasuk says b'shachvacha v'kamecha would be referring to the obligation to learn Torah being day and night, and not a direct obligation to read Krias Shema. Like Krias Shema is only derabanan, and then that would be why brachos hamazon, which is v'chalta v'savata v'rach, that for sure has an explicit pasuk. That would be the only thing that's deraisa. That would be the only thing that the first time in the Mishnah is saying you should say. And Yehuda Amar no. Yehuda says no. Mevarach lefnei v'lachreim, you make a bracha before and after. He has a lower standard. He'll let the Baal Keri say all of the brachos. Okay.
Sure.